Olivier Panis is Pedro Diniz. There is the black arrows, and the arrows is in 11th place. It too, of course, has been lapped twice already. And Michael Schumacher's only got this lap and the next one. So about 3.5 miles to go now between him and a quite superb victory for the 32nd time in his wonderful career. This man who's been on the podium so many times, 60 times already, and this is his 114th Grand Prix. So already he's been on the podium, first, second and third for more than 50% of the races that he's driven in. Lap 75 he's on now, just the next one and the one after. He's taking things very carefully behind Pedro Diniz, making sure that the Brazilian realises he's there. He's going to pass Diniz where he passed Olivier Panis on the previous lap. And of course, even if David Coulthard was making up a bit of time, and he is,
well, look,
it's not enough.
That's interesting, Murray. Michael Schumacher's coming up now to lap Mika Häkkinen. Mika Häkkinen is the next car to be lapped for the first time, of course. For example, Diniz, he just passed and lapped him for the third time. Häkkinen clearly ailing very badly. But his 6th place is not under threat because Jean Alesi is just too far behind, even though he's gaining at 5 seconds a lap.
Well,
that's assuming the McLaren keeps going, of course.
Here's Schumacher. Is he going to bother to lap Häkkinen? Yes, he is. He's got momentum. He's not going to slow up for merciful or any other reasons. He's on his last lap. Michael Schumacher doing the job he does so brilliantly well.
Well, in the World Championship fight, it must have been very tempting for Mika Häkkinen to turn left down there and take Michael Schumacher out of the race.
I'm sure the thought never even crossed his mind, Martin. And Michael Schumacher blasts on. Well, he's going to be cool, calm and collected when he's in the interview room afterwards. But I bet you he does one of those famous Schumacher podium jumps when he's got there to get his first prize, and he will richly deserve it. You have seen, we have seen a magnificent Hungarian Grand Prix, which is won by Michael Schumacher in the Ferrari, to the ecstatic delight of thousands of Germans who are here.
And they certainly did win that race. They had the right strategy, he drove it beautifully, and everything paid off. They were given nothing, they took everything.
David Coulthard finishes just over 9 seconds behind. Not very much, but quite enough. Jacques Villeneuve, we now wait to hear the Schumacher pump from inside the cockpit. Left arm, right arm. Ross Brawn wipes a fevered brow. John Todt looks absolutely delighted. There have been some criticisms of Ferrari. He's lived them all down. They've done a superb job. And there is Jacques Villeneuve coming home to finish in 3rd position in the Williams.
Second or consecutive podiums for Jacques Villeneuve. On the podium, of course, in Hockenheim, the last race. And Hill, we think, should just fend off Frentzen. Yes, he does. Hill goes over the line in 4th, Frentzen 5th. Häkkinen already secure in 6th because he'd been lapped. In fact, I suspect McLaren had asked him to slow down to make sure he was lapped so he wouldn't have to complete the last lap of the race. But Michael Schumacher there on his victory lap, and he's going to enjoy that, isn't he?
Believe it or not, that's the lowest that Damon Hill has ever finished at the Hungaroring, 4th place. All his previous races he has either won or finished 2nd, but he will be delighted with that 4th place, only to have been beaten by Michael Schumacher's Ferrari, David Coulthard's McLaren, Jacques Villeneuve's Williams. Now, I told you that the World Championship was closing up. Here is the position. Mika Häkkinen still leads, of course, but as a result of only scoring 1 World Championship point in Hungary, he is now only 7 points ahead of Michael Schumacher. David Coulthard is still in 3rd position, but he's 22 points behind Schumacher. Eddie Irvine is still in 4th position, notwithstanding the fact that he had to retire very early on in Hungary. Jacques Villeneuve is in 5th position and ahead of Fisichella, and Wurz, of course, by scoring no points, has disappeared out of the top 6. So, with a track invasion, which will not be looked upon kindly by the FIA, the governing body of Formula One, the crowd welcomes home Michael Schumacher with a victory fist waving out of the Ferrari cockpit. Well, they're behaving responsibly. They're on the track, but they're not impeding his progress, and that's the vital thing. Into the pit lane, straight into the Parc Fermé, where the Ferrari will be weighed, as will Michael Schumacher. Another brilliant victory. Over the line, in repeat goes the Ferrari. And that, as I said earlier on, is Michael Schumacher's 32nd career victory. And he passes Nigel Mansell on 31 wins to move up into the third highest winner of all time in Formula One. The highest, of course, being the great Alain Prost, followed by the equally great Ayrton Senna. And it's quite likely that both of them will be taken and passed by Michael Schumacher, because he's still only 29 years old and has got a long career still ahead of him, as he goes over to meet, greet, congratulate and thank the Ferrari mechanics. Victory in Hungary, great race, Michael Schumacher. Second, the McLaren of David Coulthard. Third, Jacques Villeneuve, Williams. Fourth, Damon Hill in the Jordan. Fifth position was Heinz Harald Frentzen. Sixth place, Mika Häkkinen. Now, McLaren, who were 26 points ahead of Ferrari, have now had the gap closed, not all that much, to 23. Ferrari's win has moved them closer. Benetton are still in third position, no points from Hungary. Fourth is Williams, fifth is Jordan, sixth is Stewart. And Michael now goes into the building and up to the podium.
Fifth win of the year for Michael Schumacher, seventh podium for Coulthard. I wonder how he'll feel about that race. Villeneuve, I think, will be pleased to reconfirm that Williams have made significant improvements. But if you look down the list of finishers, Coulthard's alone on the Bridgestones. The Goodyears seemed as if they had a better race tyre on the day.
Yes, Damon Hill's prophecy turned out to be absolutely right. And hopefully it's encouragement to Goodyear, who've said that they're pulling out at the end of the season, to change their mind and keep the two great manufacturers in Formula One and give us as much excitement and competition in the tyre world as we're getting from the car constructors, especially Ferrari and McLaren. A lot of happy fans down there and all around here, with the flags waving for Damon Hill and all the others, and some extremely well-dressed characters here in the Hungarian crowd, as you can see. Now, where's Michael? Here he is. Yes, there's the jump. I knew it'd come. Michael Schumacher leaps high in Hungary. Up on the podium alongside him, David Coulthard for second place. On the right, Jacques Villeneuve. Three different car constructors, Ferrari, McLaren and Williams, finished first, second and third. And the national anthem of Germany will ring out for Michael Schumacher's victory. Superstar Schumacher stays on the podium for the Italian national anthem for Ferrari. On now, amid scenes of euphoria, to Belgium in 2 weeks' time, a very different circuit.
Yes, it is, and it's one that Michael Schumacher is very highly rated on, of course, always driven well there, more or less his local track, even though it's in Belgium, it's very close to his hometown of Kirkland, and he's certainly pretty spectacular around there, although I'm expecting the McLaren chassis to work pretty well too. But the championship game is still very much on, Murray.
Yes, the championship of 1998 lives in the drivers' area anyway. Not